Shane, we're just going through a quick checklist.
Yeah, sure.
And you tracked ISS recently?
Yes, just tracked the last month.
Great. Antenna slews correctly. Flip mode enabled?
Yes, it did. And the next part will also be flip mode. I'm getting a bit of echo there.
Okay.
Yes, we have a very bad echo.
Thank you. Our time check here is 12:02 Eastern Standard Time.
Check in, and based on my calendar here, we've got 1 hour, 4 minutes and 14 seconds before acquisition signal.
Let's see, you have current caps?
Yes, we have, and I'll double check that also with ISS above, and everything checked out correctly.
We are showing right now on our countdown clock 1 hour, 4 minutes, and even right now, even for AOS. You agree?
Yeah, that's close enough for me.
Good, glad to hear it. Check and confirm on the frequencies.
Yes, confirmed.
And you will provide a brief overview as usual just before the live lesson.
Yes, I will.
Okay, open your squelch, and we'll make sure everybody in the auditorium hears the squelch noise, which is a Russian noise. Go ahead, Shane, open your squelch. Okay, everybody, that's the noise it makes until we hear from them. That's why we're waiting. Okay.
When would you like the recording started, Mr. McCowan?
I think we will go ahead and start the recording now.
Okay.
Were you hearing the echo from your end?
Shane, verify your modified script version. Version 3 is correct.
Sorry, what was the question?
You have version 3 of the moderator script. Good.
Yes, I have.
Good, that's correct. Let's see. Go over to the next one here. There's no video streaming. So, any other issues, Shane, you want to bring up before we start?
Just the echo that I'm hearing from your end.
Say again.
He has an echo.
I'm having just a little bit of difficulty pulling out, but 2011, it's a matter of a little distortion. Okay, Melissa, we have to proceed again. Where are you, Melissa? Dan? Melissa, we're ready to run through the questions. Shane, stand by.
Can you hear me okay? Hello,
And we're on. Melissa is lining up the students that run through their questions.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Shane. Go ahead.
Yeah, there's a very bad echo on your end.
I'm sorry, I can't pull you out, Shane.
Very bad echo on your end.
I copied the URL.
Jill, do you want to try and relay the message?
Mr. McCowan? Mr. Lynn is a very bad echo when you are talking to him. And I hear him as well.
Sorry, I still didn't copy the question.
When you speak to Shane, he is hearing an echo.
Hi, you guys. I need the audience now. By the way, hello, I missed you. I'm so glad to be back.
Shane, can you give me just a count so I can confirm with your line?
All right.
Sure. Okay, it's 4.
Yeah,
5,
okay,
4,
you're fine. Yeah, you're fine with me, so I'm not sure. And he is, and I have his line maxed out on my end. So he's as loud as I can take him on my end.
Okay.
But I am hearing the same echo that you're hearing. Like,
No problem. Thanks.
what I can do, Shane, is, because in order for, when the students ask your question, if you are hearing an echo, I can use his line when you answer. Because if not, I'm afraid there's going to be a lot of feedback and they're not going to hear your answer. And then when you're done with your answer, then I can open the line back up. The next student, we can do that to eliminate the echo. You know, but yeah, I hear it too. I do.
Yeah. Okay, great. Thanks, Jill. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Okay. Shane, I'm going to speak a little lower.
Yes. Is the other mic stand we could use?
Yeah, the one on top. That's down there. There's one that's broken and there's one that's good. Yeah.
When you do the audio check, get in and say you're good, you don't have to finish saying it, okay? Right, you're gonna run through this way.
Shane,
Tell me when you want
Shane.
And it might simply be the speakers in the auditorium are sort of feeding back into the microphone.
Could be. Are you doing are you going through a dry run before you actually do the live with the students?
Yes, we can do that.
Yeah, we sure are.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Okay, so Jill, whatever you can do to help with the papers, we will be running through.
I haven't heard properly for a little while.
I haven't either. But he's still connected.
Okay.
Melissa, I think we're ready for the dry run. Over.
I just got a message from one of my other colleagues, and he told them that he's having trouble on his end.
Okay.
So I'm not sure, because I'm not hearing him either. I'm going to pull his line out real quick, so stand by, Shane, stand by. Ms. McGowan, can you hear me?
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, this is Jill, the operator, can you hear me?
Yes, affirm, we can hear you. 5 by 5.
Because you're very faint. We can barely hear you.
Com check. 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1. Com check. 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1. Com check.
It's very low. I have your line on my end. I have your volume maxed out on my end.
Is it a microphone issue or is it?
Good.
Yes, com check.
Comcast 1, Comcast 2. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Hello, honey.
Okay, I think they're doing sound check, Shane, so hang on.
Okay.
Check, 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 check. Check, 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 check. Com check. 1, 2, 3. Check, check, check.
Shane, respond. Let's see if we get an echo.
Didn't understand it.
Okay, can you hear me okay now?
Mr. McGowan?
Check, check. Sound check. Com check.
Okay, that's perfect.
Okay.
Nice and loud. Nice and loud. Can Shane do a sound check with you?
Okay, well, can you hear me okay?
Yes. Got you loud and clear. Tell me.
That's perfect.
Perfect. I don't have any echo now. That's perfect.
No echo on my end either.
Okay, great.
Whatever you've done, just leave it.
Yes, that's our.
Sounds like they're getting the students lined up.
Yeah, I think so. You've done a few of these before, haven't you?
I have. Yes, Mr. Lind, I've done several of these. I love them.
Good on you.
They are so interesting to me.
Yeah, we've got a few technical issues with this one, but hopefully we'll get by.
Well, you know, it's Murphy's Law. You always have tech issues, don't you? I mean, you know.
I just wish it didn't happen on the day.
Well, that's right.
My name is Ashley. Quiet, everyone silent. My name is Ashley. My question is, what implications could the recent circadian rhythm studies aboard the ISS have for our use of artificial light fixtures? Over.
Yeah, I can hear that, okay?
My name is Molly, and my question is, how do you overcome the language barrier when working with astronauts from other countries? And do you ever use sign language? Over.
Molly, that was a really good, strong voice. Well done.
Yeah, loud and clear, Molly.
My name is Jonathan. My question is, what do it take in high school that leads becoming an astronaut? Over.
Well done, Jonathan.
Hi, my name is Sophia, and my question is, when you go to sleep, what position do you fall asleep in, and when you wake up, have you ever woken up upside down? Over.
Great, good, strong voice there, Sophia.
My name is Matthew, and my question is, how does being in space change your perspective on life on Earth? Over.
Yeah, we see that okay, thanks, Matthew.
My name is Brant, and my question is, how often do you see meteorites close to the International Space Station? Over.
That's a good question and good, strong audio. Well done.
My name is Ella. My question is, how closely does your training mimic the actual conditions of space? Over.
Well done, Ella.
My name is Holly. My question is, what do you miss most about Earth when you're in space? Over.
Oh, that's a good, strong voice, Holly.
My name is Catherine. My question is, have you ever experienced a communication blackout with mission control while in space? Over.
Interesting question, that one. Well done.
My name is Kellen. What personal items did you choose to bring with you and why? Over.
Well done, Kellen. Good, strong voice.
My name is Hannah. My question is, hypothetically, if you could show an alien any item on Earth, what would it be and why? Over.
Yep, no problem there.
My name is Gabe. What was the biggest challenge you had to face on the ISS? Over.
Yeah, Gabe, that's good. You could be a little bit louder when it comes to the real question. Thank you.
My name is Nathaniel. Can you describe the feelings you have as you look at the Earth and stars? Over.
Yeah, Nathaniel, your audio is just a little bit too low. Maybe you can try that again with a bigger voice.
My name is Victoria. My question is, what is something or someone that you missed that you didn't know you would miss when you went into outer space? Over.
That's a good, strong voice, Victoria. Well done.
My name is Liam. My question is, how does NASA plan to continue human exploration as the ISS nears the end of its mission? Over.
Yeah, good, strong voice. Well done.
My name is Gavin. How did your view on life change from before you went to space to after you went to space? Over.
Yeah, good, strong voice there, Gavin. Well done.
My name is Jack. If you could bring a new space, my question is, if you could bring a new spacesuit item to be sent on future missions, what would it be and why? Over.
Yeah, well done, Jack.
Have your dreams or sleep patterns changed since being in space? And have you noticed any interesting themes or experiences in your dreams? Over.
That's another good, strong voice. Well done.
My name is Jack again. My question is, how has being in space altered your sense of home or comfort? And what do you do to create a sense of familiarity while living in space? Over.
Yep, that's fine, Jeff. Thank you.
My name is Cecilia, and my question is, how does your perception of time differ while in space? Over.
Yep, well done, Cecilia.
That's our last one. So what will happen is unexpectedly, or not actually expectedly, we will watch our timer, and depending on the length of time for the astronauts to respond, we'll start to hear the crackle of the radio connection in space. So at that point, we'll applaud, and if they can hear us, thank him for, and you could stand right in when you hear the crackle or calling the time. We're already not using anything else. So Frank, does that sound? Yeah, if we have extra time, it's extremely rare, and it's only happened in the training. So jump in there and wing it. You're an astronaut. Ask him a hard question. No, but we do plan very carefully, and ARISS is a really neat program that I am so excited that all of you have this in-school field trip to experience. We have some incredible visitors, support, mentors, collaborators from other schools that students before you have been doing this and learning about it at Astronaut. In 2018, we had a historic, our very first space station contact. And it was this month, 6 years ago, and it snowed 6 years ago. And so, you know, it's so exciting. This is definitely an experiment, a live experiment using amateur radio. And it takes a lot to test and practice. But engineering is hard. That's what you're taking in my class. And I like to teach you how to do hard things and reach further. So I believe I would like to ask my mentor, Bob, in IYI. Are we ready to let our head of school kick us off? Great.
Well, thank you all. I'm Bill Crittenberger. I'm the head of school in my 5th year here at O'Connell. I want to thank, obviously, the folks who are here today. It was not surprising that O'Connell, this morning we had our awards assembly, and within the next minute after that concluded and the auditorium had been vacated, this group of wonderful people came in. It's very typical of O'Connell, where we're always doing great things and with the benefit of supporting our students, their academic aspirations, their spiritual, their emotional interests, etc. Also, the word catalyst is a word that's often bandied around in science appropriately. Without Ms. Ford, who's the catalyst at the school, this thing would not be happening. So thank you, Melissa Ford. Thank you very much. All she ever does, and for that matter, the members of the science department and the members of the school's teaching and staff communities, we're here for you kids all day, every day. We love you so much, and we're so excited that you're here. And I'm sure that if you asked everybody who's in this audience whose profession is aeronautics, etc., they've worked really hard and they're really conscientious about everything they do, which would be an encouragement for you. But also the notion, I would presume as well, that they're probably deeply spiritual people too, because without the presence of God in our life, the omnipresence of God in our life, none of this would be ever available. And so I want us all to reflect in that regard. When you think about the universe, how can you not think about God? But likewise, when you think about the birth of a newborn baby, how can you not think of God? So I want to say thank you to the folks who are here today. Thank you to Bishop O'Connell's administration, my colleagues and faculty and staff, and to all you folks and to you young people. Dream big, right? Don't let your dreams ever be bound by anything. Your imagination is everything. And in dreaming big, that means you want to deliver big, and you're made for greatness. So keep that up each and every day. And again, Ms. Ford, thank you so much. God bless.
All right, we have a moment to let some of our special visitors speak. So I'm going to introduce Frank Bauer, the director of ARISS USA, and also the chair of our international operations team. Frank, thank you for coming.
Well, thank you, Ms. Ford, Melissa, I like to call it. Well, Well, welcome everybody. Welcome to an out of this world experience. Is this going to be cool or what? You're going to get this opportunity of a lifetime to be able to actually talk to the astronauts on the International Space Station, in particular Nick Hague. So enjoy. What I can tell you is that for those of you that aren't aware of what ARISS is, ARISS stands for Amateur Radio on the International Space Station. We've been actually doing these contacts now for 24 years. Actually, this week I should say, is the 24th anniversary of us being turned on the International Space Station. And a couple weeks later, we did our first school contact. We do about 60 to 100 of these a year, all around the world. So you see right now, we're on the eastern side of Australia. And once the footprint, that round piece touches Australia, we will be having our contact. So I think it's absolutely essential for me to say something about both Ms. Poor as well as Bishop O'Connell. And let me just say that Ms. Poor has been working with ARISS for about 8 years now, starting when she was doing the first elementary school CubeSat program. She was working with folks at Goddard, and that's where I was at the time. And she's been working with ARISS on a number of things. She's part of our education committee. She is part of the ground station, one of the ground stations similar to the one that you're going to be using today, the one at NASA Goddard in Greenbelt. She's also supported a lot of our educational functions, conferences and things like that, giving presentations about the program. And she helped us develop lesson plans for a radio kit called Sparky. So she's been significantly been involved in our program for many years now, and we very much appreciate that. From a Bishop O'Connell perspective, of course, once Melissa came here, Ms. Poor came here, she brought all of that knowledge and expertise, both from ARISS and the other areas that she's involved in from a STEM education perspective, into Bishop O'Connell. And similar to what you all are doing with our other school contacts, we spend about 4 to 6 months getting them prepared for the contact, learning about STEAM, science, technology, engineering, arts, and math activities. And hopefully you will entertain an idea of getting into a STEAM career. So, you know, I am very impressed with the thoughtful questions that you all have pulled together. The preparations seem to be working out very well. And what I can tell you is that, similar to what Ms. Ford said, I want to remind everybody that this is an experiment which you're going to be doing here. So we have no idea how it's going to come out until it's over. So with that, I will say over and congratulate you in getting this far, and I wish you the best with the ARISS contact. And with that, I'll turn it over to Ben Ashman from NASA Scan.
The International Space Station has been continuously inhabited since November 2020. So that means people have been living in space, I don't know, since 2000. So 24 years, which is probably the entire lifespan of most of the folks here today from the high school. During that entire time, we've needed to maintain continuous communication between the Earth and those astronauts, or at least near continuous. What you're going to use today is this ham radio that functions as a backup to the backup for communications on the International Space Station. I work at the SCAN office, so Space Communication Navigation at NASA headquarters. We operate a global network of antennas, ground stations, and orbiting communication relay satellites that provide that communications for the International Space Station. You saw that red line there, that's the ground trace as the space station goes around the Earth. It's about 250 miles above the Earth. That means every 90 minutes, the space station orbits the Earth. That means it's over a different place on the ground just continuously moving quickly. That's a challenge for ground stations. So you'd have to have ground stations all around the world to be able to talk to the space station. So to solve that problem, we have some satellites called the Tracking Data Relay satellites that are way up at geosynchronous orbit. That means they're in a fixed location above the surface of the Earth, rotating about the same rate as the Earth turns. The space station then can communicate with those satellites, and then they send the data and the audio and pictures and any kind of housekeeping data about the health of the spacecraft, the space station. They'll send that down to ground stations either in White Sands, New Mexico, or out in Guam, which is way out there in the Pacific Ocean to the right of Japan. So SCAN provides that primary communication link through these relay satellites. I've got some handouts and stickers and pins and little paper models of teacher satellites if you want to learn more about those. But we're very excited to be here today. The ARISS program is one of the coolest things they do on the space station. So I hope that this gets you excited about what humans are doing in space, recognizing that people have been there for your entire lives, and maybe leads you to asking more questions about those activities. And I think probably I need to hand it over to our astronaut to talk more about that. Yeah.
I'm looking at the time, and I am going to go kind of quickly. At the end, we'll say more. For now, I want to make sure I make a point to announce some of our big accomplishments. So one of the parts of this program is to tell you what my classes have been doing, what my clubs have been doing, and this is it. We had an epic year already in space here at O'Connell. The students in the engineering club are leading a national project together with the University of Louisiana at Lafayette after being selected by NASA's CubeSat launch initiative, known as CSLI, for a big aerospace project. And again, Bishop O'Connell is leading it. This program will bring atmospheric science data collection and engineering design principles to the forefront of students introducing new topics and pathways. It's known as the K-Twigs project. Here at O'Connell, we've launched 2 satellites. Our most memorable was called Space Toast. So we launched on NG-11. We also launched DJO Polaris on NG-13. We will be launching this group of satellites in 2025. In addition, I've been successfully chosen to be a parabolic flyer in microgravity on 29 loops, flying my student experiment. So students in my classes, hang on, you're about to hear about a ride of a lifetime. You will be riding with me. And finally, before I hand over the microphone, I want to comment on the middle school here. Thank you for being here, Principal Amy Fry, collaborating with us over the years, and teacher Miss Miller. And I see about 5 students. Welcome. Einstein Fellow teachers, welcome. And again, my NASA team from my ARISS Ops in Building 11 at K60UE. I'd now like to introduce our astronaut on the ground, again, shuttle astronaut Dan Tani, who will start his program with me. Where is he? Here he is. And we're going to hard stop when we need to get ready for our sound checks. But Dan, the floor is yours.
All right, great. I'm gonna reconfigure here.
While he's reconfiguring, I do want to announce what's going on here. So our moderator and my mentor, Bob, Entry IYI, all different leadership at my radio club. He's been here supporting my learning in satellite operations with radio. Ken McCoy here, also from my ops team. He's taught me a lot. He has spent a lot of hours preparing this for you. It came all the way from Maryland as well. And Frank Callahan, he actually has educators in his family at OLGC. Some of you might be from there, but he's also a radio operator. My call sign's KM4CZN, and Dan, it is you.
Okay, great. I think the countdown clock is froze, so we have about half an hour, I think, to talk about what's going to happen today. And usually I'm this, I'm the astronaut when I come and talk to people, but I am an astronaut, but I'm not the big one that you're going to talk to today. So, but I'll give you a little bit of my background just so that you know how a person becomes an astronaut, because not a lot of people know what it takes to become an astronaut. So I grew up in outside of Chicago, in the suburbs of Chicago. I went to public elementary school and high school. I was a kid that loved baseball, and I loved baseball, and I was pretty convinced that I was going to be a professional baseball player. Then I found out that you need talent to be a professional baseball player, and I was lacking in the talent. So I had to find something else to do, but I loved making and flying model rockets. And these things are made of wood and paper and plastic, and you can build them yourself and paint them, and it's really fun to create something, and then you get to buy an engine, and you stick it to the back, and you hook it up to a battery, and you take a couple steps back, you press a button, it goes up hundreds of feet in the air, and that was really exciting to me. I mean, as a 10 or 12-year-old kid, I couldn't believe the power of my thumb could make something go so high and so fast. So I look at that now, and I think that's probably where I developed this interest in engineering, which I now know is engineering. But then when I saw it way up there, I started to think, I can't even see it. It's so far away, I can't even see it. I wonder if it could see me, and I wonder what it's like to be up there. Wonder what it can see from over there. What is it like? And so I really also think that my interest in exploration and travel, my love of travel, came from my model rockets. So what did I do? I graduated from high school, and I went to college and studied engineering out in Boston at MIT, a great place if you want to study engineering, I'd recommend it. And I studied mechanical engineering. And mechanical engineering, there's a whole bunch of different types of engineering. Mechanical engineers understand how things move and forces, and as opposed to like electrical engineering, they understand how electrons move from place to place. And so, like, when you hold up your iPhone, mechanical engineers have to figure out the buttons and the size and the screen. Electrical engineers have to figure out how the music and the voices come through. But I'm a mechanical guy. I think I understand that stuff a lot more. So I graduated from MIT with a mechanical engineering degree. And then I got a couple jobs, and my first couple jobs were in aerospace. And so I got to do stuff like be part of building this rocket. And it's kind of hard to see what's going on here. The rocket is actually the thing that's horizontal behind us, and the thing that looks like a roof really isn't even a roof, but it's an airplane. And so we designed this rocket right here in Virginia, and it got carried up in the air by an airplane, and the airplane went to 40,000 feet and was going about 500 miles an hour. And so when you release that rocket already has 40,000 feet of potential energy and 600 miles an hour of kinetic energy. So you don't need as much energy to get off the ground. And it's really a cool project that I got to work on. But I've worked on other things. I worked on a payload that went in the space shuttle. We built basically another little rocket that sat in the space shuttle and brought a satellite to a higher orbit. And that's the first time I got to meet astronauts. And when I met astronauts, I thought, well, this is really cool. I get to work with these astronauts. And as I got to know them and work with them, I realized it's a job. I never thought of an astronaut as a job. It's a job. And you apply for it, and the lucky people get selected and interviewed and get to become an astronaut. So I had heard that they're taking applications for the astronaut program, so I sent it in, and I'll be darned if I didn't get really lucky and became a member of the class of 1996 called the Sardines. We're the Sardines because there's so many of us. There were 35 Americans and 9 internationals in our class of 44 people. And if you think of any organization or any office building that has to take 44 new people in it, everybody got crowded in, an office that usually held 2 people, we're holding 4 people. And the joke was we were like a bunch of sardines squeezed into our office building. So, let's see, I think I'm back there. Now, the guy, 4 people over in the top row on the far right, pay attention to him. His name is Don. We're going to see him in a few seconds. But my class is great, but there's a senator in there, and who else do we have? We've got the record holder for the most time in space in our class, and we're a proud group, the Sardines. Okay, so in my career time, we've been going to the International Space Station. As you heard, in your lifetime, if you're in high school, in your lifetime, we've always had an International Space Station in orbit. It's amazing to me. In fact, we've always had people living in space in your lifetime. And so we started building it around 2000, or actually 98. We started putting people on it in 2000. And it's about the size of a football field, and it's quite an amazing machine. It has solar panels there that collect electrical energy, and where the people live, the pressurized part, is a series of basically tubes or modules that in this picture go straight up and down. This is a cool picture because you can even see the space shuttle there. And once you get to the space station, you have to learn a whole new skill. And that skill is, how do you get around? It's a big space station. How do you get around from place to place? And the sort of magic of low Earth orbit is we float in the space station. We call it 0G, but it's really not the absence of gravity, but it's the apparent absence of gravity, because the space station is falling around the Earth, we're falling around the Earth with it, and so inside, everything floats. So everything floating is a big theme in low Earth orbit, okay? All right, so what's gonna happen today? This is me making a ham radio call when I was up in space. Oh, I should say, I had 2 missions in my 16-year career at NASA. I flew on a space shuttle mission. That was about 2 weeks. That was my first flight, and that was a great introduction to space. And then when I got back, my boss asked me if I wanted to go live on the space station. So of course I did, and I trained for a long time, 5 years trained for that mission. And then I went up and lived on the space station for 4 months. So for 120 days. Nowadays, that's nothing, as you're going to see, because Nick has a lot more time than I do. But anyway, here's me making a call on the ham radio. Today we're doing an ARISS pass, as you've heard. It's just a commercial ham radio. I don't know where they buy it, but you can go buy it in store, and they hook it up to power, and they hook it up to an antenna on the outside of the space station, and you can get on it and talk to people on the ground. There are a lot of people on the ground that want to talk to the space station, and so sometimes it's fun just to get on the ham radio and just see who's around and make contact with the people that are just hoping to talk to the space station. The nice thing about ham, these radio calls, is most of the time when we talk to somebody, it goes all the way out to a big satellite, as you heard, the teacher's satellite, which is 22,000 miles away. Then it comes back down. That long distance creates a delay. So most of the time when we talk to the ground, we have a 2 or 3 second delay. The great thing about these ham radio passes is we talk directly from the space station to the ground. So there's almost no delay. Okay, so that's really fun. The downside of that is you have to be in sight of the station of the antenna that you're talking to. And so we're moving at 17,500 miles an hour. And so we're only over any particular part of the Earth for about 10 minutes or so. So here's the pass that we're going to have later today. It's sort of, this is a different view from the view here. Actually, you can see here, the ISS is right over, gosh, that must be about Moscow or Russia. And then we're going to come down and we're going to follow that rightmost red line. And then we'll be talking to them from a station in Australia. And so this is a view of the McKay is where the ground station is, where we're going to receive the signal. And then the red circle is about the horizon. So if you were standing in Mackay, Australia, if you could look out, that's about the extent that you could see at the altitude of the space station. I know it's a little complicated, but anyway, when we cross that circle, that's about when we'll be able to talk to the space station. All right, well, who's on the space station? We know we're going to talk to Rick. I'm sorry, to Nick. Well, there was, what is this, 11, I think, people in this picture. There's fewer now, because some of them came home about 3 weeks ago. But they're called Expedition 72. This is the 72nd crew that has lived on the space station since we started putting people up there 24 years ago. I'm a member of Expedition 16. I was part of the 16th crew to live on the space station. So it's just amazing that there have been 50-something more expedition crews since the time that I've been there. And let's see. So the people that are up there, I put names on. So Butch Wilmore and Sonny Williams, you might have heard their names in the news. They're the ones that flew up on it's called a Starliner, a rocket or a spacecraft. And then there were some issues they had with the spacecraft, and the decision was made to not bring them home on that spacecraft out of safety. So they stayed. They expected to be on the space station for a week, and now they're going to be up there for 8 months. So we were fortunate enough to send them new T-shirts and new socks, so they have clothes to change into. But they're great. I've worked with both of them. They're a lot of fun. Nick Haig is the person we're going to be talking to, so you'll get to know him really well. Alexander is a Russian cosmonaut, as is Alexei back there, and Ivan. And then Don Pettit, who I pointed out in my class, a proud sardine, is up there now. The other 4 came home on their spaceship about 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago. So they're not up there now, but they were there when Nick and Alexei got there. Okay, so a little bit about Nick. I don't know, he came after I left the NASA office, so we don't know each other really well. I know his name certainly, and I've certainly heard his stories. But he's was an Air Force officer, colonel, and now he's moved over to the Space Force, which is a new division of the armed forces involved in space. So he's a Space Force colonel. He's from Kansas, so a Midwestern kid. He went to the Air Force Academy, which is in Colorado, for his college, for undergrad. Then he went to MIT for his graduate degree. He's a member of the class of, astronaut class of 2013. I'm going to show you a picture of that class in a second. He was the first in his class to fly, which is a very honorable, a very privileged position. If you're the first in your class to fly, that means you're doing something really well. So he took off on a Soyuz, which is a Russian rocket, in October of 2018. However, he has one of the most amazing stories of any astronaut, because the rocket went out of control about 2 minutes after launch, and because it went out of control, the capsule that they were sitting in was automatically ejected, because if the rocket blows up or something bad happens, you want to save the people. So the capsule was ejected and then made an emergency descent down in Kazakhstan, the very first American astronaut that's ever happened to. This is very rare, but we have, all the rockets we fly have provisions if something goes bad to have an emergency abort system. So he survived an emergency abort, which is shocking and scary as anything. But he's got a lot more guts than I do, because 8 months later, he got back on a Soyuz and flew back to the space station and started his increment on the space station, his expedition, where he spent over 200 days as a member of Expedition 59 and 60. 1 minute to go? All right, and then now he just launched in September and as a member of Expedition 72. 1 minute, is that true? Okay.
Where to go after?
Okay, all right, so, all right. Well, okay, anyway, let me show you the class of 2013. There are only 8 of them, and they're called the 8 balls for a variety of reasons, but Nick's right in the middle there. All right, so I'm off the stage, is that right? Okay, so, well, let me just zip through here, and well, I'll leave that up so that when we're talking to Nick, we can. So, do you need me to unplug? Okay. On my thing. No, I can do that.
As we're transitioning to, we have this opportunity right in here that we're going to take advantage of, where we have astronaut Tim Peake speaking from the space station about some of the technicalities of what's happening with the light.
Hi everyone, I'm Tim Peake and welcome aboard the International Space Station, where we're orbiting Earth 6 nights every day.
Can we control the volume down here?
Ham radio. Now these are events that are planned by ARISS, which is a worldwide group of amateur radio volunteers who are dedicated to introducing young people and students to science, technology, engineering and mathematics. Now this is the equipment here in the Columbus Laboratory, which consists of a handheld radio, a headset, and we also have a ham video unit. Now, as the International Space Station orbits above your location, a radio link is established between the ISS and your school. Now, because we're traveling at nearly 18,000 miles per hour, which is an incredible 25 times the speed of sound, we usually get about 9 or 10 minutes of good radio contact before losing the signal. So about 5 minutes before the scheduled start time of the contact, I come into the Columbus Laboratory and configure the radio so that I'm on the correct channel. And sometimes I'll set up a ham video too. Just before the predicted time, I begin to start calling the school using the standard amateur radio calling techniques. For example, if the call sign of your school was GB4 Fun, I would say Golf Bravo 4, Foxtrot Uniform November. This is Golf Bravo 1 Sierra Sierra, listening and standing by. Now in your school, the radio operator will be listening for my call, but may also transmit and try to call me as well. You'll probably have a much more powerful transmitter on the ground than we have up here on board, so I'm likely to hear you before you hear me. Then, once we can hear each other, then comes the best bit, which is actually talking to the students and answering the questions. Once I've answered all the questions, we use the remaining time to say goodbye to each other and end the connection. I'll then spend a few minutes configuring the radio back into a rebroadcast mode, and then I'll go back to my day job, which is, of course, doing science on board the International Space Station. ARISS is a brilliant opportunity for astronauts to talk to school pupils. It's really rewarding to hear how excited the students are when they're talking to somebody up here in space. And it's a true privilege to be able to inspire our next generation of scientists and engineers through amateur radio.
And rub it in. Again, kind of working it up to the ends.
And I like to take
The shampoo in there and just kind of work it. Because without standing under running.
So good afternoon, everyone. This is Bob McCown. My ham radio call sign is N3IYI, and I'll be your moderator today on behalf of ARISS for contact between Bishop O'Connell High School, where we're all here today in Arlington, Virginia, and Astronaut Nick Hague on the ISS. I want to remind everybody that this call, the whole program, is being recorded. And I want to check right now with Jill, our Verizon operator. Jill, are you with us?
I am, Mr. Collins.
Good, just checking. And we are recording, correct?
Yes, we are, sir.
Okay, and I want to check out to Shane to make sure we're still doing okay on audio. Shane lives in Australia. Are we doing okay?
Good morning, Bob. Yes, you're doing fine. Hopefully you can hear me okay.
Great, and it's good to hear you. For everybody in the audience, Shane is up very early in the morning now. It's 10 hours, we can see 17 hours away from us. And did a lot of work this morning. For those of you who don't know already, space is hard. And all of these arrangements, sometimes the telephone line quits. And Shane has already been through that this morning, and he's getting it to work now. And that's really what it's all about. It's getting it really to work when things aren't quite going right. So, we'll get on with the program. Through the help of amateur radio volunteers and the crew on the ISS, we soon hope to establish radio contact with the International Space Station as it flies more than 250 miles today above the Earth over Mackie, Queensland, Australia. And you see the footprint there is going over Mongolia. And as some people have explained already, when the footprint, the yellow circle, gets down to the call sign there, when the footprint just gets there is when we'll be able to talk to them on the radio. The contact today will be performed using the ARISS Telebridge Network, a worldwide network of amateur radio ground stations that enable students, such as you guys, to contact the ISS. ARISS is an international consortium of volunteers from several nations that assist to develop and operate the amateur radio equipment on board the ISS. Some of the agencies, the official agencies that support ARISS are the American Radio Relay League, the Worldwide AMSAT Organization, Canadian Space Agency, European Space Agency, Japanese Space Agency, Roscosmos, the Russian Space Agency, and of course NASA. Our link up today will be with Bishop O'Connell High School in Arlington, Virginia, for the tape. And now let's check in with the group. Melissa, did you want to make any brief comments about students who will participate today?
Yes, good morning. Thank you for being here. And I do want to definitely say that 2 of my engineering club students received, after studying hard, their technician's license for the amateur radio exam, and they have their own call signs. So I am KM4CDN, and I can say Kilo Mike 4 Charlie Zulu November. And that is Ashley Kroger and Catherine Ellison. If you'll just stand up, girls, and wave. I'm really proud of them. They both passed their license exam in, I think it was July. Congratulations, new operators. They're my first students during the time being my student that have ever received their license. So I'm really proud of them. And I know we have some others studying for it. Over there. So if you are not part of my engineering classes or global studies or engineering clubs, we really want to have you come explore with us. This is one of the pathways we look at is radio communication navigation and mix it up with our satellite design. So welcome, and that's all I want to say for right now. Over. I did see a few new people walk in. We might have over the next 5 or 10 minutes some other classes slip in at the top and at the back. But remember to stay completely silent. We will start calling for the space station and we don't need any interference. And I think I will go ahead and show you our second video about ARISS.
Thank you for your patience. We're using 3 different kinds of laptops up here for seamless technology. Isn't it seamless? So hold on 1 second. So if you all are watching the countdown clock, we're at acquisition of signal known as ARISS, which is right when the space station comes over the horizon. We will start hearing our ground station in Australia calling out. The call sign for the space station is NA1SS. So you will hear it say NA1SS, NA1SS. We are calling you for a scheduled school contact with Bishop O'Connell. If you are a ham radio operator, like 3 of us over here and 5 or 6 of us over here, you could have your own radio if the space station was flying over you, and you could actually listen to a contact from another school. You can theoretically, there we go, there's one of the radios, yeah. You can definitely call to the space station, and sometimes they have free time, especially Sunny Williams, who's stuck up there. She loves amateur radio. She's on one of our first postcards from one of our first flights right down here at this table. When you leave today, I would like for you to walk by, this is the amateur operations table with some frequency charts and some other items related to radio. These are our satellite missions that we are starting. This is something very special called the signature payload. So people that went to St. Thomas More, there's a few of you here, teachers or kids, yeah, and I see you nodding. If you are over the age of 4 and could write your name, we all signed a piece of paper that was shrunk to a credit card size, and it flew on the STM Sat-1. So our plan, we started working on the hardware for our current satellites at a NASA intern program in the summer. So the O'Connell students, document very carefully, hand it off to the NASA interns, and they hand it right back to us. So this includes a lot of important names, and everyone here today would like to invite you to sign your first and last name with a Sharpie on our signature payload in any little crack.
Thank you, Melissa. And as you can see, the approaching contact is imminent. Our contact today, as has already been explained by Dan, will be with astronaut Nick Hague. His amateur radio call sign is KG5TMD. And I would say that most of the astronauts and all of the cosmonauts, I think, on the ISS recently have had ham radio calls, amateur radio calls. Many of them got them on becoming astronauts. And he will be using the amateur radio call sign NA1SS. The amateur radio ground station today with the ISS is ARISS ground station VK4ISS, located as you see on the map at Mackie, Queensland, Australia, on the other side of the world from us today, and operated by Shane Lynn, VK4KHC. Shane, thank you again for struggling through all of those issues with the phone line this morning. Shane, please tell us a little bit about the VK4 ISS station and how you'll handle today's contact with the ISS. Shane, over to you.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Bob. Good morning, everyone from Australia. Well, VK4 ISS, ARISS ground station, is located in the city of Mackay in Queensland, Australia. The amateur radio ground station comprises a Yaesu FT847 as the main transceiver, an amplifier, and some tracking antennas that have the ability to also switch polarization as the polarization of the signal from the ISS changes as it passes over our station. Just before AOS, I'll start calling the ISS with call sign NA1SS. And once I've established radio contact and the signal is clear, I'll simply say, please go ahead with your first question. When completing each question, it's very important to say the word over, as this is my signal to switch between transmit and receive at the ground station. So good luck, everyone, and back over to you, Bob.
Thank you very much, Shane. We're about a little over 2 minutes, a little under 3 minutes, before the planned acquisition of signal from ISS. With the time for ARISS contact quickly approaching, we want to remind everyone to please mute your cell phones and any other noisemakers. Be as quiet as possible when not actually asking the astronaut a question. And we have to say, and we've said before, remember, what we're doing with the ISS is an experiment. The ISS is an enormously complicated endeavor in all kinds of ways, and sometimes things don't go quite right. We can never tell what the result will be on a predicted basis, but we certainly hope to give you a good experience today until the experiment is over. Students, please don't forget to say over at the end of your question. And use a good strong voice to make sure that you carry up the 200 miles or so from Australia to the space station. The ISS will soon come into radio range of station VK4 ISS, where Shane is, and Mackie, Queensland, Australia. So Shane, over to you. Let's proceed with the contact. Over.
Yeah, thanks, Bob. The tracking antennas are now tracking into position. They'll lock into position shortly and then start tracking the ISS as it comes up over the horizon. Okay, everyone can be in their positions because we'll most likely start calling a little bit early. Don't be too concerned if we don't hear anything to start with, and we'll continue to call until such time as we have a good solid signal from the ISS. Good luck, everyone. Please stand by.
Watch the AOS.
Okay, we have about just under a minute before we have acquisition of signal. Please stand by.
So look, there's about 32 seconds. They'll start calling out just before that gets to 0. So we'll maintain silence.
Calling in on ISS, NA1SS, NA1SS. This is Victor Kilo for India, Sierra, Sierra. VK for ISS calling for scheduled ARISS contact. Do you receive, over? Calling NA1SS, NA1SS, NA1SS. This is Victor Kilo for India, Sierra, Sierra. VK for ISS calling for scheduled contact. Do you receive, over? NA1SS, NA1SS, NA1SS. This is Victor Kilo 4, India, Sierra, Sierra. VK4 ISS. Calling for scheduled ARISS contact. Can you receive, over? Hey, good morning to you there, Nick. This is Victor Kilo 4, India, Sierra, Sierra. A little bit scratchy at the moment. You're just coming up over the horizon. Nick, we have students from Bishop O'Connell High School in Virginia standing by for you with their questions. Please go ahead with the first question, Bishop O'Connell.
ISS, this is Bishop O'Connell High School. Nick, this is Dan Tani. I'm a former astronaut, a proud sardine, classmate of Don's, and we've got some great questions ready for you. So I'm going to kick it off.
My name is Ashley. My question is, what implications could the recent circadian rhythm studies aboard the ISS have for our use of artificial light fixtures? Over.
The implications are that the artificial light fixtures work. We reinforce those rhythms. So we use strong blue light, we take it away, and we make it fantastic. Over.
My name is Molly, and my question is, how do you overcome the language barrier when working with astronauts from other countries? And do you use sign language? Over.
The language barrier is difficult. The first thing I started learning when we became an astronaut was how to speak Russian. So we always are struggling to communicate with each other as clearly as we can. I tend to speak Russian to my Russian colleagues, and they speak English by trade, but we find a way. We do use sign language. We use sign language when we do spacewalks and when we fly tests during training. Over.
My name is Jonathan. My question is, what did it take in high school that lead to becoming an astronaut? Over.
In high school, I loved to study math and science, and I enjoyed my high school physics class immensely. Those things got me hooked on space, and that led to where I am.
Hi, my name is Sophia, and my question is, when you go to sleep, what position do you fall asleep in? And when you wake up, have you ever woken up upside down? Over.
Yeah, I fall asleep in a position that just is kind of comfortable. My arms kind of float up a little bit, my legs bend almost like I'm sitting in a chair, but not quite, and super comfortable. You're just in this relaxed position. But I'm inside a sleeping bag, and that sleeping bag is loosely tied down, put in here. I haven't woken up upside down. Over.
My name is Matthew. My question is, how does being in space change your perspective on life on Earth? Over.
When you look down on Earth from the space station out the window, it's really hard to see all the things that we put on maps that divide everyone. So it changes my perspective. I feel more connected to everyone on planet Earth.
My name is Brant, and my question is, how often do you see meteorites close to the International Space Station? Over.
Fortunately, not very often. And if something is going to come close to the space station, we move it out of the way if we can. Unfortunately, little things we can't see, and those actually hit the outside of the space station. So during spacewalk, you can see places where little bits of micrometeoroids have hit the station. Over.
My name is Ella. My question is, how closely does your training mimic the actual conditions of space? Over.
We do a lot of training on the ground to try to simulate being in space. Unfortunately, the only way you can really experience it is being here. And so there's working that happens the first couple weeks once you arrive aboard station. Over.
My name is Holly. My question is, what do you miss most? Over.
That was easy. I miss my wife and my 2 boys. Over.
My question is, have you ever experienced a communication blackout with mission control while in space? Over.
Typically, we have communication with mission control, but it's not constant. So in a given day, we might be without communication with the ground maybe 10 to 15% of the time. Over.
My name is Alan. My question is, what personal items did you choose to bring with you and why? Over.
In my crew quarters, I have a picture of my family, my wife and my 2 boys. I also have a flag from the United States Space Force because I also serve as an active duty guardian.
My name is Hannah. My question is, hypothetically, if you could show an alien any item from Earth, what would it be and why? Over.
I love that question. It's so unique. If I could show them anything, I would show them an embrace of, I'd give them a hug. Over.
My name is Gabe. What is the biggest challenge you had to face on the ISS?
Without a doubt, the biggest challenge we have on the space station is the living aspect. How do you support humans surviving and living continuously in an environment that isn't supportive of life? And we make that possible. Station over.
My name is Nathaniel. Can you describe the feelings you have as you look at the Earth and stars? Over.
When you look at the Earth and stars at the same time, when you're in the cliff and everything is dark, the Earth seems very small, precious. The Earth seems infinite, and it makes you feel very connected back on Earth. Over.
My name is Victoria. My question is, what is something or someone that you miss that you didn't know you would miss when you went into outer space? Over.
Something that you don't get to feel up here is the feel of water rubbing on your skin. So if you walk through rain at home, down your skin, once it hits you and you feel that motion up here next to you, it becomes your body temperature and you don't even know that it's on your skin. Over.
My name is Liam, and my question is, how does NASA plan to continue human exploration as the ISS nears the end of its mission? Over.
NASA's going to continue to work the Earth. Its goal is to get back to the moon, to Mars, and that's where the Artemis mission.
My name is Gavin. My question is, how did your view on life change from before you went to space to after you went to space? Over.
After I got home for my first space mission, the thinking minute, taking every minute that my family, my friends, and my loved ones count, and just enjoying the moment. Over.
My name is Jack. My question is, if you could bring a new spacesuit item to be sent on future missions, what would it be and why? Over.
Well, my mother makes a mean dish of chicken enchiladas, and that'd be really nice to have up here. Over.
Have your dreams or sleep patterns changed since being in space, and have you noticed any interesting themes or experiences in your dreams? Over.
Yeah, my dreams haven't changed. Something unique that happens when I'm about to fall asleep, though, is when I turn off the lights in my crew quarters and everything is dark and I close my eyes, every now and then flashes of light as radiation hits the back of my eyes, and it reminds me that I'm over.
My name is Jack again. my question is, how has being in space altered your sense of home or comfort? And what do you do to create a sense of familiarity while living in space? Over.
To make living up here bring you a personal life or something like that. And the sense of home and comfort, obviously up here is like rugged camping, and you get very comfortable wearing the same clothes for days on end, or being able to take a sponge bath instead of a shower bath for over 6 months. So
My name is Cecilia, and my question is, how does your perception of time differ while in space? Over.
You know, it changes a little bit. If you look out the window, you can go around the globe 16 times a day, and so you see a sunset every 4 years. You start to realize that we're very connected on here, that you go around it in a way. So for me, that sense of time.
I think we're losing you over the hill. If you can hear us, have a great weekend. Thanks so much for the contact. We'll see you on the ground.
NA1SS, this is 50 kilo 4 kilo, India, Sierra, now closing moving. 736, thank you.
That's it. Ladies and gentlemen, this is shared a wild moment in American history. Amateur radio ground station DK4ISS, located in Mackie, Queensland, Australia, and operated by Shane Lynn, DK4KC. Contacted astronaut Nick Hay, AT5PME, aboard the International Space Station, and spoke to several of your comrades here at Bishop O'Connell High School in Arlington, Virginia, USA. Now, for the International Volunteer Team of ARISS, including the amateur radio satellite corporations around the world, the American Radio Relay League, the Canadian Space Agency, the European Space Agency, the Japanese Space Agency, Roscosmos, and NASA. This is Bob McCown and 3IYI, your ARISS moderator for today, sending my salutation to all of you in amateur radio terms, 73s, which means best wishes. And Jill and Verizon, you can stop recording.
Thank you, sir.
That concludes the ARISS portion. Back to you.
Hi, that was definitely a successful contact, and I want you all to know that this was a moment in history for O'Connell, going down in the history books, a once-in-a-lifetime chance for many people. You've just experienced it yourself. I want to make sure I thank my short list, Mark Steinbein, K4 IJZ, former O'Connell staff. Thank you so much. My brother Chris, who helps with satellite operations and high altitude balloons. Bob Kepke and ARISS Ops team, who came from North Carolina, and his wife. Thank you so much. Frank Bauer, Director and International Chair of ARISS. I really appreciate you and your wife Janet coming today. Bob McCowan and 3IYI, my partner, always need you. Thank you for today. My student leaders in the club and my current students, this is all for you. There's much more to learn and be curious about. I can't wait to get back in the classroom and continue to talk. Keep exploring, keep dreaming, find new goals to follow, and again, congratulations to my 2 students that have their license. At this point, I'm going to thank astronaut Dan Tani, who has given us the gift of direction, opinion on microgravity experiments, and he's been a mentor to some of our students. So you may see him again. Thank you, astronaut Dan, for sharing everything and your inspiration. Education needs leaders like you to open the pathway and show us more our opportunities. So at this time, if you have come for the radio contact with your class or with global studies, you may, if you miss lunch, you may go to lunch tea. But I would like for my students and the guests to stay. If you need to go ahead and park, go ahead. All right, so for my guests that have come from other activities. I would like for you to come up here and make sure you sign our signature payload. To my students, I'll see you Monday. Go eat lunch if you have